Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode here at the Autobiography. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Chris. Here we're all about self-development and in pushing ourselves to the next level, so stay around. Recently I hit a bit of a milestone. I hit my 200th cold plunge.
Yay!
And considering we are the end of February, which is quite scary, I thought let's just do a quick video together about 5 lessons that I've learned from doing 200 cold plunges. Before we do that, I think it's good to always kind of recap and reflect on how we've got here. So 200 cold plunges is quite a lot. If you'd have told me this maybe a year or so ago, I wouldn't have believed you. And the simple reason for that being is I never thought I could do it, in all honesty. And it's funny now because I have family members and friends, when they come around and they see the whiskey barrel, they're like, wow, how do you do that? And I'm like, I'm exactly where you were a year ago, which again is, I guess you could say a 0.5 lesson is you can do this and don't be put off by it, because I'm sure anyone that watches these types of videos, I'm sure you follow other people and they say it's a life changer, and it genuinely is. So it's up to you whether or not you go ahead. So all I can do is say this is my 5 lessons and why I would suggest to anyone to get yourself used to cold water therapy, whether it's a cold shower or a full cold plunge. So my first lesson is, and probably the biggest one, and again it's a big one for life as well, is it is never as bad as you think. A lot of the times we can overcomplicate and overthink and overanalyze, and you get into a state of paralysis by analysis. Simply doing the act is the most successful thing you could possibly ever do in life. Thinking about it isn't doing the act. Planning isn't doing the act. Worrying isn't doing the act. Doing is doing the act. And actually doing it is what the big difference is. So even something like a cold plunge, where you are voluntarily suffering and you're putting yourself into cold, freezing water, you will have those conversations with yourself that says it's going to be too cold, I'm going to have a panic, I'm going to be gasping for air, what am I going to do? And I can tell you, after 200 times of doing the cold plunge, it's never as bad as what you think it's going to be. And the second you're in the water, you get that initial shock. And about 20 seconds in now, if you watch any of my shorts, and I post daily cold plunges, you will see that I just go into the zone because I've done this 200 times now. And that is what life is all about. It's about repetition and doing it over and over again. So the uncomfortable becomes comfortable. And you're building up that armor for your mind, that resilience, that confidence in yourself that you can do this in anything in life. I have a motto of eat the frog, get it done, 1% a day. You'll hear all these phrases. And it's simply because if you do a cold plunge first thing in the morning, that's probably one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing that you're going to do that day. So get it done with. Then the rest of the day is a doddle. And that reflects in your personal life and your professional life. So the takeaway is, the build-up is always worse, but doing the act, completing the act, succeeding in the act, doing it, is where winners are made. So do it now. The next lesson that I've learned, especially in winter, and if you go to some of my shorts back in maybe end of January, middle of January, when I had ice about that thick and I had to literally stab it and break it up. And that was a workout in itself, to be honest. The colder the better. The colder the water, the better. So for context, it's the 21st of February and we've had a bit of a humid kind of muggy spell where the temperatures got up to 14 degrees and the water temperatures got up to 8. I got in it today. I don't feel the full benefit. So what I've learned is 4 to 5 degrees is where it starts to get uncomfortable, but the colder the better. 1 or 2 degrees, really get yourself in there. That's where you feel invigorated. That's where you're going to get the most benefit from. But the main takeaway for this second rule is the colder the better, both mentally and physically. The results and the after benefit, if you will, stays with you for a lot longer. The colder the water, the better the results. My third lesson after 200 cold plunges is don't make excuses. It doesn't matter how early it is in the morning, how cold it is, if it's windy, if it's raining, if you've got to go to work, if you're working from home, if you're doing a workout afterwards, if you're doing a workout before. Just get the work done. The best way to look at this is these are just factors to overcoming that goal for today. But the real rule here, and probably one of the biggest ones you could take away in life, is by not having any excuses, by willingly commit that every day you're going to do this. Every day. It doesn't matter wind, rain, cold, sun's out, whatever the excuses they want to put in your head. It's what you do when no one's watching. When it's 6:30 in the morning, it's 1 degree, and you've got to go to work. It's what you do in your private time. It's what you do for those 10 minutes in the morning that can shape the rest of your life. And it doesn't sound like a lot, does it? 10 minutes. That's all it's going to take. Get in there. Get out, get up, get showered. And another element of this, number 3, is by not having excuses, by having the discipline to show up unmotivated, unwatched. You have to do this. You and you alone have to do this. You have to do this consciously. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to grow. You have to voluntarily suffer. And you have to do this when no one's watching. Because it's when no one's watching, that's when your true self comes out. When your true being comes out, what are you going to do? Are you going to pass another day? We're all one day further to the grave. This is the truth. That's a very stoic way of looking at it, but that's the truth. Every day is a closer to the grave. So when are you going to start? What's stopping you? And you know the answer. So it's understanding the why. And then once you have your why, strip all the excuses away and get on with it. Do the task. Rule number 4 of 200 days of the cold plunge. And this is something I already knew. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I did Thai boxing for... Scary when I do this because it just makes you realise how old we're all getting. I think I started Thai boxing in 2007. So what's that? I don't know. Too many years. It's scary, isn't it? Maybe 17, 18 years. And that was my mental challenge. That was my goal. And to stand across the ring from someone that wants to knock you out is a challenge, but I would recommend any single person, man, woman, child, is to get to do something like that, to challenge yourself physically in front of another person in a safe environment, obviously, because that is when you're going to find your true self. Are you going to fight or are you going to run? And the way you do that is by voluntary suffering, by putting yourself out there. So the suffering in a cold plunge is the shivers, the cold shock, the gasping for breath. But taking the breath and realising actually you're in control, there's nothing to worry about, it's not as bad as you think. And that suffering becomes a joy. Like I said in the previous lesson, no excuses. Suffering is good. It builds you up. It builds up your threshold, both mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever element you want to put on it. And that's the key, is to voluntarily suffer. So when bad things happen in real life, you're already adapted. That is the whole reason for this. You are voluntarily putting yourself in a situation that is shocking and not very pleasant. So when a real life stress happens, you're prepared. You can breathe. You've done worse. You've literally built this resilience and this coping mechanism up every single day. And remember as well, the suffering is all part of the process. So keep pushing through. You can do it. And the last goal. So we've talked about the lead up, no excuses. We've talked about the mental preparation, if you will. It's never as bad as you think. The colder the better. But what you need to do is just go for it. Don't tiptoe. If you're going to go for a cold plunge, go for a cold plunge. Now there's two factors to this. If you've never done a cold plunge before, start with cold showers. It's one of the cheapest and easiest benefits you could possibly do. Have a normal shower, and for 15 seconds, turn the water so it's cold where it's uncomfortable, but it's tolerant. You can tolerate it. That shock reflex is what you need to master. Every week, make it 10 seconds longer. And when you get to 3 minutes, it'll take you about 3 months, that's when you're ready for full body water submersion, cold exposure, cold plunging. So my final lesson is, when you get to that point, you're already adapted, you've already done all of your work. Go in. No tiptoes. Get in. My biggest tip for the cold plunge, and you watch it on any single one that I do, when you climb in, exhale. Take a deep breath and exhale on your way in. Nice deep breath. You can't see what I'm doing in the cold plunge, but I'm doing belly breathing. I'm doing Wim Hof breathing. So no hesitation, jump straight in. So those are my 5 lessons that I've learned from the cold plunge. And I hope you can take some of those away. Again, the cold plunge is simply the teacher. How you apply the lessons in life is up to you, whatever aspect of your life it is. So let's just do a quick recap. It's never as bad as you think it is. Never suffer unimagined troubles. The colder the better. Number 3, no excuses. It doesn't matter the weather. It doesn't matter what your day it is. There's always time to do it. Find 10 minutes at the start of your morning to invest in yourself. You'll thank yourself in the long run. So number 4 was around voluntary suffering and suffering through. Getting climatized and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is what's going to make you better when real life tries to knock you down and you've built yourself up already. You've been investing in yourself 1% a day. So suffer now and reap the rewards later. And number 5 is 2-pronged. If you've not done cold plunges before, start with cold showers on the technique and the method that I mentioned earlier in the video. If you are an experienced cold plunger and you're where I'm at, 200 plus, go straight in and exhale as you get in, and then focus on your breathing. So those were my 5 lessons that I've learned from 200 cold plunges. I hope you found that valuable. And I want to just say, if it's something that you're considering about, if this is something you are thinking about, just do it. You've heard people talk about it. I'm sure everyone knows by now somebody that does cold plunging or cold showers, and they say how good it is. What have you got to lose from doing it? A bit of uncomfort? Great. You'll get through it. Remember, this is all about you and building yourself up and building up that mental resilience for what life's going to throw at you, for building up that confidence in regards to you can do this. And that's going to reflect in your personal and your professional life. So tell me about your stories. I want to know where you are on your journey. What is it you want to do next? Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months? How many cold plunges do you think you've done? How many years have you been doing it for? What can you share on this channel with everybody else to make ourselves 1% better a day. That's what this channel is all about. It's about community and working and pushing ourselves forward. So thank you very much for watching. This is the first full new video. I hope you enjoyed the intro. Again, we are just tweaking this as we go along and making it 1% better a day. Tell me what your thoughts are on the new intro. Again, we've got the new mic setup, which is, I love it. I just love this. Yeah, it's way better than what I was using before. I listened to my old videos and I do apologize, but the new videos going forward will be a little bit crisper and a little bit easier on the ear, so fingers crossed for that. And if you like the channel, if you like what I do, if you like the message, if you want to share, if you want to contribute, if you want to add, if you want to make other people's lives better, what I want to do, this is the place. Let's do it together. I can't do this on my own. The world needs a little bit of love and kindness at the moment. And let's do this together, 1% a day. So this is Chris from The Autobiography signing out. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to like. If you want to subscribe, feel free. If you want to share, feel free. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.